Welcome back. Well, today we have on the board president of the South Orange County Community College District, Chide Prendergast, excuse me. And nice to have you on. And among being the board president, you also are an instructor at Saddleback, aren't you?
Not at Saddleback, at Beckman High School.
Oh, Beckman. Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize that.
I teach American government in high school.
Wow. Now, where's Beckman High School? I'm not familiar with that.
It's this is our 10th year. It's in Irvine. It's a Tustin Unified School, but it's on Irvine land around Culver and Bryan.
Wow.
So this is
very interesting.
Been an exciting 10 years there.
Yeah. So what made you get on the South Orange County Community College District Board?
Well, as I mentioned, I teach American government, and those are primarily seniors. And a lot of my seniors would come back, and I'd ask them how they were doing. And the ones that went to Irvine Valley College or Saddleback or even other community colleges in our area, you know, would express their frustration about getting classes, and it would take 3 years to get through instead of 2. And then I heard there was an opening. Don Wagner was running for assembly and had won that position, so there was an open seat in the area that I serve, which is Area 2. And I got an opportunity to kind of put my money where my mouth is when I'm telling my students get involved and don't just complain, don't do something about it. So it gave me that opportunity to do that. Interesting.
That is great. I had thought for some reason that to get on the board you had to be an instructor at one of the colleges. I didn't realize that.
Actually, I don't think you're allowed to be on the board if you're an instructor at one of the colleges. In fact,
I guess that would be sort of a conflict. It could be.
Jim Wright, who just got elected into that position, retired shortly before that. So it was because of that ruling.
All right, very good. Well, you brought along some slides today, and of course one of them is we have the Emeritus program here, and there's some special guest lecture series that are coming up.
Correct, and so it's time to start registering for those. You can see they range from literature to medicine. These are very popular, so you're going to want to get registering as soon as possible. You can call the Emeritus Institute at Saddleback for more information, and the number's there as well. Okay, and I see there's 3 of them coming up, one of them just coming up in a couple days. And obviously the one on the 21st, Proust, you're going to, I guess, going to be going over his writings and his poems and things like that. And he has a very famous, I don't know if it's a poem or a little sonnet or whatever it is, but it's talking about his childhood eating these mandolin cookies. That's I don't know if you ever heard of that, but it's something that it's called some people pronounce it Proust, but it's called a Proustian moment or something like that. When you have something, whatever it may be, and it takes you back to your childhood. I always remember that about that. And then you have a doctor on about cancer prevention, what works, what doesn't, and that's coming up on the 28th. So a lot of good programs coming up. How does one go about enrolling in these? I see the number on the screen at 582-4936. For these special lecture series, can they go to our recreation department and do it, or they need to call that number? They need to call that number.
Okay, so these are beyond the normal classes.
These are, since they're special extra series.
Okay.
It's not in the normal class catalog. They get added.
Okay.
So they want to make sure that they have an idea of numbers and so forth.
All right, and you have Irvine Valley College coming up, some events coming to that college, which is obviously up in Irvine. I think it's on, is it on Jeffrey?
Correct, Jeffrey and Irvine Center Drive.
So near to where you teach, I guess.
Pretty close,
yeah.
Pretty close.
All right, so here's an event, well this has the January 25th. But
this already happened,
yeah. Are there going to be some other events coming up as well?
There are, if you go to the next slide. That event, the Astounding Inventions, is a really interesting program on where they allow students to invent, solve problems, and it's a big event they have there. But we do have Jazz Day at Saddleback.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun.
With Tony Malaby. That's going to be a day-long event with him headlining at the end. All information is that he's an amazing performer. And
now jazz kind of goes with Saddleback College, don't they? I mean, isn't the KSBR?
Correct.
That's more of a jazz-based station, isn't it?
And they do host a lot of jazz events as a result of that.
Yeah, so that all kind of goes together. I think that would be a lot of fun. You have a great program there as far as performing arts in general at at McKinney Theater, and you have you meaning Saddleback has a long history of really great performances that they've done there over the years. I remember a few years back, we had somebody on the show who was a set designer for many years and went through all the different staging that they do. So that's nice, and this is just adds to it. Great talented students that are in this band, I would think.
Right, and we as trustees try and go to a number of those events. And the last one I went to was the Feast of Lights that they hold over the winter break, and those are, again, it's students that perform and do the work, and they do an excellent job. Yeah,
definitely. Also, another one, Reflections of the Ocean Classical Keyboard Series.
Correct. So that's Vladimir Khomyakov. He's a Russian concert organist. He's well known. He's been performing since age 10. And he's very impressive.
Yeah, that should be good as well. Now, is this someone, when you have these guest performers that come in, do they is it just one performance, or do they come in and work with some of maybe the piano students there or anything like that?
It varies on their schedule. If they're on a tour and they're moving from place to place, then we get them when we get them. If they are able to meet with the students the day before, the day after, or sometimes that same day, then
I bet that'd be a
take advantage of that.
Great thrill for those students to meet somebody who's basically on the world stage of doing music like this.
Right.
That would be good. All right. Also at IVC, there's another piano recital coming up with Steinway artists.
Correct.
Now, Steinway being the brand, the piano. So you have the big, huge Steinways out there.
Right.
And there are a couple where they're playing kind of it looks like I see two here, so they're kind of back to back.
And it's described as an adrenalized performance.
Yeah.
That it's a little more exciting than just maybe a typical concert piano series. That they're very entertaining from what I've heard. And it's kind of almost like if you go to a dueling piano bar or something of that nature, where they really
I think this would
spice
be
it up.
A lot of fun. And again, this comes up quick. It's only in a couple days.
Correct.
So if you're interested in going to this, you can go. Where would they get tickets for this? Could they go right on the main website?
They can go right to the IVC box office.
Okay, right there. They can
call the box office, go on the website,
and if
you
you
can buy it at that night.
If you the best website to get to anywhere is just go to the main one, which is the SOCCCD.edu. If you forget that, you can just put Irvine Valley College or whatever. Any of those places are going to get you where you need to go. You also have a benefit concert coming up at IVC.
Right, and we're always excited about promoting things that raise money for scholarships for students, and this is one of those events. It's tomorrow night, so it's coming up very quickly. So if you're interested in going, and it's Toulouse Englehart, who's one of the best finger-style guitarists around, and he's playing with John York, who's a former member of the Byrds.
Oh, really?
So it's kind of a folk,
a lot of people here probably
acoustic
remember that,
rock
the Byrds,
concert, and a little nostalgia to it, and it's supposed to be really a great performance.
Be a great
performance. It raises funds for the scholarships.
Yeah, that's really nice. Now, is it raising funds primarily for the performance scholarships? People go into the performing arts program, or just in general?
In this case, I believe it's put on by the Irvine Valley College Foundation, which is a general scholarship for anyone. There are opportunities here and there where people can earmark things. Okay, I want this to go to an art student or a music student or things of that nature.
I heard that, I don't know what the progress is. There's some new buildings being done at Saddleback? Was there a new science center recently?
Well, the construction is just now starting.
Okay, it's just now starting.
The Life Science Building in Irvine Valley College, we have the grand opening of that in March.
Okay.
The Science Building at Saddleback, we had the groundbreaking last month. So construction has started on that, and I project a couple of years.
Yeah, that's nice.
But that's going to be a nice new 3-story building on campus, and it's, very modern architecture to it.
Yeah, I remember, I don't know if this building is still there, but I think it was one of the science buildings. And what I remember about it, the side of it had these very odd kind of pattern to it.
Correct.
Am I right? Was that the
that's
science?
the one. And that one's...
That goes way back.
That one's having some issues. That is why we're building the new one. Is that it needs to be redone.
When I took a golfing class there, that's where I would park, in that lot. So I would always see that building, thinking that's kind of a look at all the patterns. And kind of, it's like a throwback to the late 1970s or something.
Correct.
But I can see why you want to build a new one, a nice new modern building and all. That's great. Really good. We'll have to get the progress on that, although it'll be a couple years from now.
Right.
But it's nice to see that Saddleback and Irvine Valley, they're getting these new buildings, and they're always improving. I think nowadays with very, very high cost of four-year colleges and universities and private universities, just the benefit to maybe at least starting out the first couple years at a community college. And in some cases, depending what your goals are, that may be all you need. If you're going to some sort of a trade or something like that, it's a tremendous cost benefit, not to mention people often, I think very wrongly, get the impression that the education is not as good, and that's absolutely not true. Sometimes it's better because, for one thing, the classes are often smaller.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I'm a product of community college. Both my brothers went to community college, so we obviously support that system. But yeah, it's good instruction. They're professors. They all have their their masters or PhDs, and so they're qualified to teach. And as you mentioned, they're smaller classes, so they have a little bit more ability to meet with students individually, and you're not in a lecture hall of 800 like when I was at Santa Barbara. And then you're meeting with the TA instead of the professor themselves. So it's just a different system, and it does save a lot of money. $46 a unit versus $3,000 a quarter at the UCs. It can be a tremendous cost savings, and we have some of the highest transfer rates between IVC and Saddleback. Highest transfer rates to four-year universities in the state. And as you mentioned, career technical education is a huge aspect of what we do for people who are getting 2-year certificates or AA or AS degrees. Yeah, exactly. Well, great information. We appreciate you coming on, and I'm sure we'll see you again in a few months, and good luck in this coming year. Thank you. All right. We'll be back in just a moment.